Welcome back to episode 9 of the Pipeline Talk podcast. Today, doing a little review of the trade deadline, diving into each of our teams, our successes, our failures. If you're a Cubs fan, more to come on that later. But gonna review our little game that we did last week. Joining us today is Dylan, filling in for Phil. Gonna be talking some Yankees, bringing the Yankees back. They had an interesting deadline. We'll hear from him in a few minutes. A couple other stories and a lot more, all here on the Pipeline Talk podcast. But diving right in, let's review our little game. Paul, would you like to announce the winner?
Yes, so for the trade deadline guessing game, trying to guess where each prospect. Nick's already grabbed his trophy. We know our winner, but each person picked three players, guessing where they'd end up. Our winner is Nick Dramala. He wins 4 points, nails Ryan O'Hearn to the Padres. He was in the room with AJ Preller, telling him to make the call. You had one more, Nick. Do you remember what it was? One
I
more.
have my notes here, but I won't cheat. I had David Bednar getting traded. I just had the wrong
Mm-hmm.
team. But
He knows
I,
both, you know. Second place was Mr. Philip Stalzer, 3 points. Didn't get any of the teams right. Got all three of his players being traded correctly. Third place, we have myself. Josh Bell not getting traded makes absolutely zero sense. He screwed me out of second place. No clue what's going on there. But a solid showing, 2 out of 3. We'll take it. And in the last place, never to be seen again on the podcast, Brendan Coffin, 1 measly point. He guesses Seth Lugo, or you guess Seth Lugo
I
again,
guess that's Lugo.
Brendan. Okay, can't clown him there. But gets one prediction right out of 3. Pathetic. Just not moved at all. But yeah.
He also tried to guess Sandy Alcantara again, even though someone had already used him. He just didn't know the
He's
rules.
a cheater and a fraud.
He's yeah,
Yeah.
just bad all around.
This
But
is why
thank
Bobby
you.
Dalbeck's a royal. That's what he gets.
But thank you, Paul, on the win. That was a fun game. Definitely enjoyed. Nailed. Shout out Ryan O'Hearn and AJ Preller for making the move. He was listening. But diving right into the deadline, I know a lot of interesting kind of scenarios here. We had the Yankees and Cubs who were ideally buyers, the Mets, Phil's Mets buyers as well, and then Paul's Washington Nationals trying to get as much value as possible. I know we dove into a little bit about Mackenzie Gore. They decide to not move him. Maybe the asking price was a little too high for some teams, but it seemed like the prices for pitching was crazy high in general.
Yeah, so yeah, the rumors were the Nats really wanted Matt Shaw from the Cubs. And once I heard that, I knew a trade kind of seemed unlikely to go down, especially once we moved Ahmed Rosario. So we couldn't even really help patch that hole if a trade happened. And that sounds like they wanted Cade Horton, they wanted Owen Casey. I mean, they wanted everyone from the Cubs for Mackenzie Gore. And it wasn't just them. Everyone with their pitching, especially their controllable starters, they were asking for heaven and earth. And it's why not a lot of deals really went down on the controllable side. Mitch Keller gets held onto, Mackenzie Gore gets held onto, Sandy Alcantara, Edward Cabrera. I think on the controllable pitching side, Bailey Falter got moved. I'm not really
Which is
sure
kind
who.
of kind of weird that they hold or they trade him. They hold on to like Andrew Heaney, a couple other. The Pirates had a weird deadline in general. I don't want to spend too much time on the Pirates because
More on
they're
Bednar
a
had
them,
bit.
another
maybe
year.
maybe later, just so we can dunk on them. But it was a weird deadline for a lot of the controllable pitchers. Nats hold on to Mackenzie Gore. Maybe just a move they want to save for the next full-time GM, which could be the current guy. It could be Mike DeBartolo. But, we're gonna have to see. I really don't like it if they end up moving him in the winter. Feels like you could have gotten the most value at this deadline. You kind of sacrifice the value of an extra playoff run in a trade in the winter. You'll still get good value back, but I won't be very happy about it. But our Nats and Cubs made a deal together, Nick, didn't they? But the results
Yeah,
have been shaky so far, haven't they?
it was an interesting one for sure. Cubs acquired four major league players. One of them from the Nationals being Mike Soroka for two prospects that one a bit of an older outfielder but still had value. The Cubs decided not to protect Christian Franklin, 25-year-old outfielder at AAA, and then Ronnie Cruz, who was a shortstop, I believe 17 years old, international signee. the number 14, I believe, 14 and 15
They
or
were
15 and 16.
13, 14, I believe, at the
Yeah.
time. Trade.
So pretty high for a rental with 1 year and or whatever the rest of the season.
Mhm.
And it sounds like his 2 innings may have been all he can
He looked
provide.
sharp in that first one, though. Don't
He
get him
looked
wrong.
he looked good. 2 innings from Mike Soroka. He's pulled with what they called shoulder soreness. I think they're still going to analyze. He did go on the injured list, but as the only starting pitcher that the Cubs acquired, not exactly the news you'd like to hear. Jed Hoyer said we knew there was some risk and just the price you pay, but very frustrating for Cubs fans.
Yeah, I like the Yankees deadline. I like the moves. Obviously, that first game versus the Marlins, just terrible. I Such an embarrassing loss. I mean, you have
I enjoyed it.
great leads three different times, and you lose them, and so the pitching looks not great to begin with. Bird gets sent down. I'm not too worried about that because the Rockies were throwing him almost every day. And so I think it was a little bit of that overusage. But what I really liked about the deadline is I think we tried to address needs. I like to see that from Brian Cashman, but it's also guys who have additional years. Caballero is here for a while. McMahon has a couple years. Bednar has a couple years. Duvall has a couple years. So you're not getting guys that are going to come in and leave. You're getting guys that you liked enough that you want to have them several years on the team. Obviously, the pitching had that implosion, but I think something I noticed from the team last year was that the bullpen was not great August, September, and then it turned it around in the postseason. So I don't think just because it's not looking great right now, but I do think the team could turn it around. I think Caballero and Rosario give Boone options um, to against lefty pitchers. And then I also think Caballero put some pressure on Anthony Volpe to field a ground ball. He looks like me out there, and that's definitely not a compliment. I got moved off of shortstop in the seventh grade, and I don't know what grade Anthony Volpe is in, but it might be time for him to be moved off.
You might need to go back to school, learn some fundamentals.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, Joe Madden would love him to do that, but Ryan McMahon, since the All-Star break, he's got a 746 OPS, which doesn't like pop off the page as like amazing, but he plays great defense. And Peraza and Vivas, who was sharing the position, had like a 500 OPS. So it's like a 250 point improvement. So when you frame it like that, we didn't get McMahon to be the rock of our lineup. We got him to add depth to the lineup, and I think he did that. I think the bullpen has a chance to turn into a strength because honestly, the bullpen was a strength last year. So I think we did a good job of shoring up the worst parts of our game and then just kind of I don't think I liked how we didn't overpay for pitching. I would have loved to see Spencer Jones dealt because you're just kind of in a tough spot now where he's 23 years old. I think he turns 24 this year. Okay, so is he going to play center field for us next year? I don't I don't really want that. Is he going to play left field for us? And I think the tough part is once you call him up, you run the risk of the dude striking out 10 times in 12 ABs, and then no one's going to trade for him. I think he probably hit his max value as a prospect, and I would have loved to see him trade that in for a prospect, or not for a prospect, for a starting pitcher. But looking at what the starting pitching prices were, I think it would have been Spencer Jones and a couple other pieces, and that would have made me a little bit more uncomfortable. Like I don't think they would have done Spencer Jones for Mackenzie Gore, like a straight on. I think we would have had to give up another top 10 prospect.
You'd be surprised. Or I think Brian Cashman said like right before the deadline. I think you probably saw it. We won't
Right.
deal Spencer Jones for anyone but Paul Skeens. Is that all crazy to you? Do you think he was? Does he just kind of talk like that to talk like that sometimes?
I think he blows a lot of smoke because I think that's an easy answer because Paul Skeens, one, it grabs headlines, which the
Mhm.
Yankees love to do. And then two, it's not really saying anything in my opinion because we knew Paul Skeens wasn't going to get dealt. Like I don't think him and the Pirates GM had a serious conversation about dealing for Paul Skeens. And it's also just it's a little crazy because like you're telling me if the Dodgers, and I don't ever think this would happen, but if the Dodgers called and said, "Yo, Otani for Spencer Jones," you're not Wheeler for Spencer Jones. Like
Hmm.
there's a whole list of players that are just as good or maybe a little bit less good than Paul Skeens, where it's like, we're really not doing that one for one deal. I don't buy that. I think it's just an easy way to push it off. Because he already said, like, everyone's touchable to some extent. So he kind of had that soundbite out there. So he kind of had to put something that's a little bit more interesting because, he just made him sound like a little bit of a pervert. So you gotta drown that out, and it grabbed headlines, which the Yankees love to do,
He's just clip
kind of
farming.
like the
That's all he's
Cowboys.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, this is going front page tomorrow. Let's go.
Hmm. Yeah, no, the Yankees need to be front page, and that was their play has been back page, so they needed something else to be front page. So I think that was more of that than anything.
Hmm.
What would you give the Yankees grade wise for their deadline, Dylan?
I would say a B. Like I think they filled in holes really good. Like third base had to improve. It was a black hole in the offense. It wasn't good defense. And after watching Yorbit Vivas not slide and get thrown out from right field by Ronald Acuna, it was like, okay, something's got to change. And so I think you filled that hole. The bullpen is better than it was. Obviously, it imploded, but I think bullpens are so finicky. It can be bad one month and then all time great the next month. Um, And like Camilo Duvall, that's velocity. Bednar has velocity, and that was something that we needed in the bullpen. So I like that. And then I think Caballero I like because he's athletic. And Rosario, it gave I don't I think Aaron Boone is a terrible manager, but it at least gave him the options to like try and be a manager and try and push some buttons, pull some strings, and then I guess it's more of a litmus test of like, hey man, you had these options for matchups and you didn't use them. I think it gave Boone a lot of options to prove himself that he's a manager, and I think it did put a lot more pressure on Volpe and Boone. And I love both of those guys, and I hate to see any undue pressure on both of them. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I love that we are putting them in a position where they have to perform.
Phil, we want to swing to you, talk about the other New York team,
Yeah,
how their
sure.
deadline went.
JV.
Yeah, okay, JV. We're both in the gutter right now, dude.
Real. True.
Just got to
Uh,
beat the Brewers for us, Phil. Couple, take
uh,
2 out of 3, please.
hey, you know what I've been seeing all day on every social media platform is Pete Alonso 3-run home run in the wild card game three.
Perfect.
I actually saw some Brewers fan posted whoever it was hit a walk-off home run in the seventh in and it was just the home run from like the seventh inning of game three, like right before the Alonso home run. I thought that was funny. But
Game over.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he was like,
Devin
that was
Williams
it.
gives
That
up a
was it.
lot of home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan doesn't even get to laugh about Devin Williams giving up homers. It's become too real for him.
You're welcome
I
for
have in my
breaking.
notes, I hate Devin Williams. It's
But as far as our deadline went, I thought I was actually at first I was a little bit not sure, but I like the moves. I mean, our bullpen was a bunch of nobodies, to be honest, other than Edwin Diaz. Um, we've got a couple of guys come back from injury that have been good, but I mean, getting Rogers and Helsley have been huge. We got another lefty in Gregory Soto. So I like the moves. I really think like it's kind of just it seems to be the way that like playoff baseball is kind of that seems to be the trend as far as like what seems to work is just get 4 or 5 innings out of your starters, at least playoff wise. Get 4 or 5 innings out of your starters, keep it close, and then just throw 4 or 5 elite bullpen arms out there, and you should be good. But so I like the moves. I really do. My only gripe really is that I really needed to see at least like another 2 or 3 starter, something like that, because this rotation, yeah, it was the best in baseball for the first month and a half, 2 months, whatever it was. But I mean, I've said it from the beginning of the year. We knew it was going to fall apart because these are guys who have not had consistent success in their entire careers, either because they're young or they just haven't been good in their past, or it's relievers turned starters who like Clay Holmes is just burning out now. Like I'm watching it happen. He's not able to go. He can't be efficient and get through 4 innings. If he gets through 5 innings, it's a blessing. It's the guy like Kodai Senga hasn't thrown a full season in now almost 2 years because of injuries. He's supposed to be our ace. Sean Manaea, I mean, there's still some hope because guys like Sean Manaea are he's been good since coming back, but he's still working through a little bit of like for him, it's like those early season woes kind of thing, just because he came back like a month ago or something, month and a half. So I like the moves overall. I think they were good. I would have liked to see a starter, but I've seen a lot of complaints, like from Mets fans on social media, like David Stearns didn't do enough. We needed some offense. He didn't address the lineup at all. And I disagree. I think that might be a coaching issue or a philosophy issue or something because there's no shot. There's no shot at all. You put Alonso, Lindor, and Juan Soto in a lineup and tell me we're not. You guys don't have a good lineup. Like the Dodgers had Betts, Freeman, and Otani, and like comparatively, those probably are better hitters. Those three compared to Lindor, Alonso, and Soto, just
It's
like
closer than
three
you
against
think,
three.
honestly.
Yeah, it's
Betts is
close.
ass. Betts is terrible this year.
Well,
Yeah.
this year's different, but I mean, like
Yeah.
when that was like the hype last year, I
Hmm.
thought it was a similar hype for us this year, and so it's there's no shot that you can be blaming the offense. Now, our depth may not be as good because we were banking on Vientos having a like the same years he did last year, which hasn't happened. Alvarez has looked he came up as a rookie, hit 25 home runs or whatever it was in like half a season, 3/4 of a season, whatever it was. You thought he was going to be another power bat in that lineup. And then just like some of the other guys haven't really panned out. Beatty's been inconsistent. Ronnie Mauricio, he's been hot at some points, cold at some points, just more inconsistency. So it's like the young guys are kind of still working through those kinks. But I mean, for guys like Juan Soto to have just like I say one of his worst years, but he's still got an OPS over like eight, close to 900 or whatever it is. Like, but I don't know, man. I find it very hard to believe that it's a personnel issue on the roster rather than in the coaching staff, just because of all of these fantastic players and players who have had fantastic years just butchering it. In my mind, it's the same thing as the pitchers, just the opposite. We've taken in these nobody pitchers and turned them into like Griffin Canning was one of our best pitchers this year, and before the season he was a nobody. And it's not like he tampered off because he got worse and then just like succumbed to some fake injury. He legitimately got injured after having very good starts. So it's kind of just like the opposite. With the pitching, it was you're blessing the pitching coaching staff because they're turning around these guys. But now it's like now the hitting coaches seem to be turning around these all-star hitters into shitters for like a lack of better term, like to be honest. And it's honestly it's getting really frustrating as I watch these games because like I said, the hype was there that this was going to be the lineup to contend with the Dodgers. And it was going with the pitching staff that we decided to not get during the offseason. They had to be because that was the only way that we were going to win games. Now, the team is still in contention for first place in the NL East, which may seem like I'm overreacting, especially as a Mets fan. but it's just like it's really disappointing because it seems like they're just finding ways to lose games and the like just overall the mentality is like, hey, you might want to wake the fuck up, guys. We've got like 2 months left of the season. You easily have a shot at a NL East pennant. You should have a shot to make the World Series, but you're not playing like it. Like they're playing like it's we're probably not going to make the wild card. Just play the rest of the season and go make it till next year, and we'll get some more pieces and hopefully be better. But no, like I legitimately believe this team could still make a World Series run if they wake up, make the adjustments, and actually play some offense. That's really the big thing for me. I think the pitching has been overall decent. It's been good enough for what I expect. So I think the offense just really needs to just wake up and figure it out. Whether it is some coaching staff mix up. I've seen people talking about bringing in JD Martinez as like an interim hitting coach or assistant hitting coach or whatever because he honestly there was a lot of support for him when he played last year, even though he sucked like at the plate himself. He like there was a lot of thanks from players around him, just like mentality wise. So I think it's a mental thing. I can't sit here and with like full intent say that there is an issue with our lineup that like we don't have enough guys.
Is Jesse Winker done for the year? I haven't heard about him in a minute.
I mean I haven't heard anything either. I thought he was honestly gonna be back like a while ago. I kind of forgot, but like I don't know if like that's not really gonna move the needle.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
more of a team guy. No, they really don't like Eric Chavez. They were chanting, to fire him after the almost no hitter on the Metros. Like, really not
yeah,
Eric Chavez guys. I just don't know if an interim hitting coach, like, I don't know if there's enough time.
no,
I don't know if a month is enough time to like fix. I mean, you can make some tweaks, but especially a guy that's never had experience as a hitting coach. Like, I don't think in a month and a half time, you can really like fix anyone. Like, if it is a mental thing, then he could be a beneficial. Like,
well, my thing was also like I first started seeing this when Alvarez went back down to AAA the first time. Like he was just barely hitting 200 the first couple of months of the season. Goes back down to AAA, hits like 5 home runs in like 7 games or whatever it is. And it's like everyone's like, look what Eric Chavez did. Look what happens when he doesn't have to listen to Eric Chavez. And it's like, okay, or he's just a quadruple A baseball player who just rakes in AAA. Like that's also completely possible.
mm,
But like, then you kind of just like think about it, and it's like Juan Soto. In the past, it was like, oh, these guys don't know how to play New York. He played in New York last year, so that's definitely not it. And he played for the Yankees, which is probably harder than playing for the fucking Mets. So it's really the stuff is starting to pile on now where I'm really starting to think that it's possible that there's an issue. Maybe it's not Eric Chavez himself because he's been there for multiple years now, and he's had good years, and we've had good years and bad years offensively. So I don't know if it's him specifically, but something within the hitting department needs to change because it's really just like tanking, and I don't know what possibly it could be.
I would say it might be more of a depth issue because I pulled up the OPS for Soto, Lindor, and Alonso, and Soto's at 865, Lindor's at 750, and Alonso's 859. And I feel like that's not out of career norms from any of those guys. I mean, Soto's the best years in his career are above the 900, but I mean, he's not terribly far from 900 right now, and he could still go on a tear and get there. Lindor's below, but I mean, I didn't pull for any of the other guys. And if those are your best three and nobody else is doing anything, it definitely is rough. Y'all's deadline was also tough because like you needed a center fielder bad, and Cedric Mullins was kind of the best option, and Cedric Mullins was kind of rough. Some people love him, some people hate him. And then the starting pitching, I mean, like we talked about earlier, the prices were astronomical, and it's not really in David Stern's blood to go out and get him. I do think it you should have spent in the offseason, but that's kind of beating a dead horse and woulda, shoulda, coulda. But I think, I'd look for y'all to invest. But yeah, no, I definitely get the frustrations because I feel like it's a little bit similar with the Yankees. I mean, the the lineup is not we're not winning enough to say the lineup's good, but you look and Bellinger's having a hell of a year. Stanton, since he's been back, is having a hell of a year. Chisholm is makes me want to bang my head against the wall, but he's having a hell of a year. Um, I get what you're coming from. It's frustrating in New York right now.
I
Yeah.
think that David Stern's point is really like the one it's kind of the thing I'm most interested about. Is like that they have a guy who came from Milwaukee who is so stingy in charge, and then he gets basically unlimited financial assets that he's almost like afraid to use it. Like that's never been who he
Hmm.
is. So like I really thought maybe they'd go after like a Corbin Burns in the offseason, and they had the money to do it. And I mean he's been hurt, so that would have been not very useful. But like,
But how different of a boat would the Mets be in if they went
mhm,
out and got Corbin Burns? Was my argument the whole time. I
mhm,
mean, we talked about it a lot with Jack, and it's like the thing about the Mets is that you could have Corbin Burns and all these guys because all these guys, it's not like they were fighting. It's not like you convinced them to go to the Mets over other starting roles. A lot of these guys were kind of castaways,
mhm,
and their other opportunities would have been on non-winning teams. The Mets are probably the only team that gave them a winning roster to be on and to start. So you could have done Corbin Burns and had these other guys as depth options, but
mhm.
instead you don't invest in Corbin Burns and now it's obviously yes he got injured, but I think you know
I think that's a cop
it
out
yeah they pay
because we
that
could have had him
contract.
for
Who
three. We
cares?
could have had him for 2, 3 months to begin the season, whatever it was. I don't know what month and a half. I don't know when he got injured, but
Yeah,
that's
how much
still
are you paying Verlander and Scherzer?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
should have. Yeah, and I think that's like, and then you get to the deadline, and really a lot of like, the Red Sox were antsy about trading their prospects. David Stearns never gives up his prospects. I mean, when did the Brewers ever buy? When did they buy under him?
Hmm.
So he hears the price for Edward Cabrera and hangs up the phone. I can't even believe they didn't go get like a Zach Gallen. I mean, a
Yeah.
rental playoff experience. He's not doing that well this year, but their whole thing has been rebound projects, and he's been
That's what
good
I
at that.
thought that was going to be the move, to be honest. Like I
That's
would have
what,
loved
yeah.
Chase or Alcantara to be like a cool project, but I thought it like realistically would have been like a Zach Gallen.
Yeah, I thought Marill Kelly, like I thought that was slam dunk. I mean, he has playoff
Hmm.
pedigree. He's
Yeah,
been pretty solid. He got the Rangers, I think, fifth and maybe like 12th prospect, and their system's not very deep. That's probably like the eighth and 15th from the Mets. I mean, I pay that for Marill Kelly. That's not a bad pitcher
yeah,
at all.
yeah. I mean, like I said, that's my only gripe is that there was no really. It seems like there was not really an initiative to go get a starting pitcher when you've been watching the starting pitching just like falter and stumble and trip like the last month and a half. Like the stat, I've seen the stat like 100 times now since like mid June or early June. I think it was like June 8th. We've had one pitcher. We've had eight starts where the pitcher went at least 6 innings. Every time it's been David Peterson. He's the only one who goes out there every fifth day and gives like a competitive quality start
Hmm.
or borderline quality start. He's the only one.
Shout out David Peterson, honestly. I was doing my NL Cy Young, just kind of like early predictions, and I was shocked how good he is. I
Yeah,
think I threw him in at five. Like he's
my preseason Mets Cy Young. I know ball. Let me tell you.
you know some ball. But Nick, do we want to jump to you, talk a little Cubbies?
Yeah, we can go to the Cubs. Um, Doubling, tripling down on the gripes of missing on starting pitchers. I know we talked briefly about Mike Soroka, but he's a guy who wasn't even, no offense to the Nationals, probably isn't a full-time starter on any other team. He's a swing guy. That's where his most value was. He was the fourth 2024 Chicago White Sox that has been rostered by the Cubs this year. And when you're rostering players from the worst team statistically of all time, probably not a good recipe for success. Nicky Lopez was another one that just project didn't work out. But I digress. Not talking about Mike Soroka, the other moves that they made, which again were not bad moves. Taylor Rogers buy low from the Reds. He was traded twice at the deadline. We get him. Um, Willie Castro, I really like. Guy that can play all over the field. I believe they said on the air was the first Cub in his first 4 games as a Cub to start at 4 different positions. So utility guys, We've done well with the Ben Zobrist type, kind of just giving a day off for Pete in center. He's kind of the backup center fielder now. Willie Castro is. He also can play short, second, third, both corner spots, pretty much everywhere. I think we're going to play him except for pitcher, catcher, and first. So just giving those guys the occasional day off, I think was very valuable. Didn't have to give up a ton for him either. So kind of a buy low, but Andrew Kittredge, a reliever that has had some good seasons, had some bad ones. He's older. All four of these guys technically were rentals, barring Kittredge. I believe he has a club option or maybe even a mutual option for next year. But I saw something on a something I was listening to that I thought was a great analogy. They said the Cubs deadline was like a Thanksgiving dinner where you love getting your cranberries, you love getting your stuffing, your green beans, you got all the side dishes, but we were missing the main course. We were missing the turkey.
You're
We
Mackenzie
need
Gore.
we needed to get a starting pitcher, whether it was Gore, whether they said we're going to go all in on an Edward Cabrera. Um, we missed the boat on that. Mike Soroka can't be the only starter you get. His injury history, the velo was down. All this, I don't want to like say I told you so because no one knows. Jed Hoyer doesn't. Nobody knows in the league. Guy's
Mhm.
going to get hurt. You can't predict injuries, but all the signs were pointing towards him just not like being able to do it for the full season, injury history, just in general, numbers were fine. I think they said he was getting hindered by some bad luck. The FIP was a lot higher than, or the expected ERA maybe was a lot better. But I just think it comes down to that. The prices were too high. Jed Hoyer hugged all the prospects after getting an extension 2 days before the deadline, which
Mhm.
I know Rizzo getting fired by the Nationals right before the draft was interesting. How about that? You extend the guy right before the deadline. I don't know if it made him too comfortable. He didn't want to do anything crazy now because he knows he's secure. But you kind of look at it both sides. If he wouldn't have gotten extended, is he like, all right, trade everybody? I think that might make him hug more. At the end of the day, if you're a playoff team and you're trying to contend and you go into the deadline with some good prospects, the Cubs system is very top heavy. We have one or two pitching prospects, and I think that hurt us is when you're trying to trade for a controllable starting pitcher, the team's going to want some arms back in the deal. It just kind of makes sense. And I don't think we had the quantity or the quality maybe to match up with teams, so they wanted more position player depth. I just think when you go in and you still have all seven of your top seven prospects after the deadline, when you're technically a buyer, it's not a good look. We'll see. I know we were talking a little bit before. We'll see if they do anything in December. Maybe go out and get a controllable starter, or maybe just a younger, maybe a reliever with some control that they really like, and use some of these chips because they expire. It's like a bad can of soda after a few years. The prospects once they reach that top their top value, you don't play them, you don't add them to the 40, or you don't trade them. They're going to start losing value. So it's very interesting for the Cubs. I don't hate the moves that they made. I thought the four players they got were fine. The markets they had to play them a little bit maybe of an overpay for Soroka. Looking back at it now with Paul, that we talked about that was just the price you had to pay. Sucks that he only is probably going to have 2 innings in a Cubs uniform, but I,
They're
I don't
damn good
hate the
to
moves. A damn good 2 innings. Gave up a solo homer, but I
him.
mean, I liked the sides. I thought that was a perfect analogy. We got good sides. We didn't get the main course, and when you're trying to make a playoff push, you need a little spark. We're 4 games behind the Brewers now, who still don't have a position player with an OPS over 800 on the season. How are they winning games? How are they going 18-4 in 22 game span? How they continue to
Check the
do this
strength of
with guys
schedule.
we've never heard of. I mean, some of these pitchers that the Brewers are throwing out there. Quinn Priester, a former Illinois high school prospect, is on his third or fourth team and is having a career year. Uh, Craziness going on in Milwaukee. Hopefully the Mets can shut him down here, but uh, the Cubs held on to some of their best prospects. I think that's a win for now. We'll see what they do in the offseason. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about Kyle Tucker probably a little bit later, but we didn't really, when you invest in Kyle Tucker, trade a bunch of pieces for a rental and then say, hey, we don't want to spend these pieces for rentals. It's kind of a little contradictory. You got one of the best players in baseball, and we're not putting a ton around him to push towards the playoffs, in which could be his one and only year with the Cubs. So overall, if I'm grading it, I'm gonna go C minus. I think we hit on the side pieces again, but you didn't get the
You
pitcher.
forgot the turkey.
We did forgot the turn. I would have liked if they were going to overspend and just go get a guy with control and he got hurt, you're like throw your hands up, okay. But when you invest in a rental that has injury problems and then he gets hurt and that's the only starter you got, that's the only one you got, you're kind of scratching your head there a little bit. We'll see what they do in the second half. We got some guys coming back from injury. Jameson Tyone, who eh, and Assman Javier Assad, who hasn't pitched all year. If he can give you anything, you're shaking his hand. He has really good career numbers, but he's more of a swing guy too. So you got all these swing guys, no true starters. Ben Brown still sucks. We're I wanted to hold the belt up. I thought maybe we could make a run. I I,
Uh,
I was
There's still
ready.
time. There's still
There's still
time.
the
time.
long
There's still
season.
time.
That's what I keep telling
First
myself.
round exit.
It's just we're gonna be the best one of the wild card teams, I think, and we'll see. Matt Boyd has been great. I like him. We'll see how he does here in the playoffs. I don't think he has a ton of playoff experience, but
I
going,
remember wanting the Yankees to trade for Matt Boyd in 2017, just to put that in perspective.
yeah,
You would have been a little early. You had to wait a little while for
this
that to
was
work
his
out
first
for
All
Like
Star
seven
appearance.
years.
you. Yeah. It would have taken a little for that to pay off for you, I think. But
Yeah.
I think with the Cubs point, like I think the Jed Hoyer point with the extension is really kind of where I fall back on all this is that like if he doesn't get extended, I do think he gets a little nuts because he doesn't care what Owen Casey's going to do in 2027. He might not be here. He probably trades him. He probably tries to get at least like an Edward Cabrera, at least someone. And now that he's here, he's got to kind of worry about the next couple of years. And really, Owen Casey is their Kyle Tucker insurance. He's their insurance plan. If Kyle Tucker is in LA or New York or wherever the hell he ends up, you go play Owen Casey and you feel okay about it. If you can get Kyle Tucker back, you can then go trade Owen Casey for some pitching. You could feel better about that then. But he got a little scared. He got cold feet. He's like, I'm going to be here a while. I don't want to fuck anything up. We're going to get a little cute. We're going to get guys with, good peripherals. Quote unquote, get Michael Soroka, who I think could have been good. Probably not in a starter role. And
No,
we'll see now. If he comes back, it'll definitely be in the bullpen, I assume, for the Cubs.
yeah, I think so. Just again, you have some of these guys coming back from injury. If he already got injured once, and it was he described it. He said he tried to put a little extra on the fastball, which again we just said the velo was down, so he was trying to throw it a little harder, and he said I felt something in my arm, and it didn't go away. And that's not what you want to hear. A guy trying to get more velocity because he knows his numbers are down. He's trying to impress this new team, new fan base, starting at Wrigley. And the craziest thing too is the Red starter Nick Lodolo got injured the half inning before. So both starters were out before completing two full innings. Wild game, not what you want to see. The Cubs decided to recall Nate Pearson, who has a 13 ERA at the MLB level this year. Just a reliever that throws hard and has no idea where it's going. And if he does, it's right down the middle. The Cubs have depth. It's just not good depth. And I think that was an issue. That's why they got three pitchers at the deadline. But I just wish we could have gotten a starter. I know both Phil and Dylan agree with that for their teams as well. One more starter goes a long way. It's a guy who can give you 5 innings every fifth day. And I just don't think the guy we got from the Nationals was that good. But a good segue here, Paul. Talk about the Nationals deadline, what you kind of felt about it. Uh, got some guys out that you wanted. Guys like Josh Bell did not.
I'm so sick of Josh Bell. I'm so tired of seeing him, especially now that he can't get us anything in return. I just sigh when he hits. But anyway, I'll keep it brief because who really cares what the hell the Nationals did at the trade deadline? But Gore really is the main talking point. Uh, I was kind of, I was very firm team not trade Gore, and then kind of as we got closer to the deadline, I was like, okay, for the right price maybe. And then it sounds like they were asking for a lot, and they should have. They almost asked for too much, I think. Like, I love Mackenzie Gore, but he does have an ERA over 4 right now. And that's really been he's been really bad as of late. That's kind of been the whole thing with him is he starts really hot. I don't know if fatigue sets in. I don't know what happens, but it's really once he hits like July, he just hits a wall. Like he might need a week off. He might need to miss a start because he's had like a 7 ERA in the last month. He got hammered by the Athletics in his last start. I mean, just nothing was going right for him. And now his value looks terrible if you're trying to trade him in the winter. If he keeps pitching like this, I mean, you're going to get maybe Jonathan Long from the Cubs for him at that rate. Nick is salivating that, but it I like it. I like holding on to him at least until maybe next deadline. I mean, the team probably can't be competitive next year, but if they're willing to spend some money and just see what they got, I think there's still another leap to be made for him where he can kind of sustain that April stuff for multiple months, like get through July with that kind of stuff. So I think if you're talking next trade deadline, a year and a half of a really good Gore versus this deadline, where it's 2.5 of a Gore on the decline, I don't think those values are that far off. I mean, you probably if we're talking like a Cubs package, let's just extrapolate the Cubs' current prospects to next, pretend nothing changes. You could probably still get Casey, probably get Moises, probably not maybe one of Shaw or Horton, remove one of, Casey, just kind of two of their top five, something like that. Like, I think, holding on to them, I liked. I mean, we don't know what the packages being offered were, what they were asking for, but other than that, kind of a boring deadline. The guys that needed to be moved, got moved. Ahmed Rosario to the Yankees for Clayton Beater, a reliever. Got to see him pitch in person a couple times. He throws hard, gets some Ks. He gives up some nukes. He gives up some bombs. But
Majestic.
they, I mean, there's some hard hit balls, but he gets some swing and miss, and most of the bullpen can't get swing and miss. So I like it. The only guy traded with any control was Alex Call. He's got a couple years, sent him to the Dodgers. And the prospects that we got back themselves are, I think, I'm not excited about any one particular prospect we got as much as the process of the returns feels so much better than when Mike Rizzo was around. They went for a lot of depth in their deals. They didn't get outside of, the Ahmed Rosario deal. Every trade they made, they got at least two pieces back. They're kind of focused on getting some depth. They got pitchers with strikeout stuff. I think they got one pitcher with a K per nine under nine, as in the Kyle Finnegan deal. They got really athletic hitters, Christian Franklin, huge power upside. I know he swings and misses a lot. Might be like a fourth outfielder. We'll see. I mean, got to give him a shot. You got no one else. Ronnie Cruz, the 17, 18-year older they got from the Cubs. Great power stuff. Swinging and missing a lot. So young though, just kind of a lottery chip. You'll just wait and see. I just think that's what I like the most, other than really any one prospect, is that it was guys with the stuff you want to see, like the fundamentals you can build on. Like when you look back and be like, okay, I get how he got here because he was striking out 11 people per nine when he was in single A. We built from there. So I think that was really what I liked the most. Josh Bell, I never want to see you again. I hope they just kind of leave you in San Francisco. I don't know. Nathaniel Lowe, they tried to trade him and no one would answer the phone. They would just like, like we're busy right now. Sorry. Yeah,
We're
we'll talk
good.
about this later. He's probably getting non-tendered in the offseason. I mean, what a disaster. I don't know how you 4 straight seasons of at least like a 120 WRC plus. They bring him in, they change his swing because they're trying to add more power. What do? They break him. He's got like a 90 WRC, negative WAR. He can't field now. That doesn't even make. How did we do that? I no, but if I had to grade it, it's like a C plus. I mean, there's nothing to write home about. Get a couple teams 15th ranked or so prospects. It's what they had to do. They did it. Yeah. But I think we should talk a little deadline winners and losers, just general teams.
Yeah.
I think we'll start with the loser because we were talking about it earlier. I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh. I don't know if they know they run a baseball team. Like, I'm not sure what they think is going on. They're trading guys with control. They're holding guys that are rentals. They're just kind of throwing darts at the board. They're just having a little fun. I don't know what. David Bednar to the Yankees. We'll wait for Dylan to come back for that one, but Bailey Falter they send to the Royals. They get a couple okay prospects. No one that impressive. And Bailey Falter is a needle mover, but he's not a bad pitcher. There's a couple of years of control there. You can get something for him, and they kind of got meh.
Es-
I mean,
Especially for the high asking prices too. It felt like
mhm,
they like if they couldn't get more than what they did, they should have just held him. He had years of control. And then for the rest of the guys, like you said, Paul, it's almost like they had a list of all the guys they wanted to trade. They got through a few of them, said, okay, we made some deals early, and then just forgot to trade the other ones. I mean, you got Tommy Pham sitting on your team, Andrew Heaney, a couple of these other guys. Santana in the bullpen could have taken advantage of a good year from him. They held on to guys that could have very easily been moved. You make a move with the Reds for Cabrian Hayes, which I don't hate. There's a lot of money that
mhm.
you probably shouldn't have spent on a guy who can't hit as well as he was supposed to. So he pencils into the Reds lineup as the 9 hole. The Pirates are a loser for more than one reason, but they're especially a loser at this year's deadline, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did like the Key Brian Hayes trade just because I think he's awful. And if there is something there, it wasn't going to be figured out by them. So if the Reds figure him out, good for them. They get a steal. But I kind of like that one. They won't reinvest the money, so it doesn't matter. But good. That was a good one. Falter was whatever. I don't know why they did that. I don't. Maybe there was just no market for Tommy Pham. I guess I could believe that. I mean, it's hard to believe you can't even get like a 25th ranked prospect. Like you couldn't get anything for Tommy Pham. And it's not even like we'd rather keep him as a clubhouse leader kind of guy. Like who likes Tommy
Yes.
Pham? No one likes Tommy
Say-
Pham. So just get anything. I don't Isaiah Kiner
Not Jock Peterson.
yeah,
No.
someone had to have wanted Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Just a utility infielder. I know he's not that good, but yeah, just for
Send
sentimental.
him back. Send him back.
The Yankees could send
Until
their
we got Caballero. Until we got Caballero.
and they hold on to him. I don't know what's going on there. We were saving it for you to get back, Dylan. David Bednar. That's a pretty good move for the Yankees. They didn't give up that. Like it feels like they could have
I was
gotten.
surprised by that trade because he's got another year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I saw he said something about choosing our deal over other deals. And I will said they got maybe two catchers or maybe just one catcher from us. And we have figured something out with catchers. We gifted the Red Sox a great catcher. Wells as I mean he's terrible right now, but he's been okay. He's been good if on average the past 2 years. Um, so we've been able to do pretty good with catchers. So I kind of get that, but I find it hard to believe he couldn't get better packages for Bednard.
Mhm. It sounds like yeah, like you said, he had better packages on the table when he chose the Yankees one. It sounds like, I think he even said he had better Yankees prospects on the table, but he really just wanted Rafael Flores.
I mean,
And
shit, I appreciate it, but
yeah, he wants to see the Bronx in October. He's gonna have a suite. He's gonna be up there with Cashman. They're gonna have some drinks. I don't know, but I
my
mean,
hero.
yeah, I think moving Bednar was a good move. It's an all right package. I mean, I thought
He should have traded Paul Skeens for Spencer Jones.
one for one, mind you.
Yeah,
Throw him into the
that's all they're
Bednar,
getting
make it a
apparently.
blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do think it's kind of funny that we just kind of know they won't sign him. Like we're kind of just on a collision course where the trade will happen in 2 to 3 years, but like for PR purposes, it is too early. Like I think that's just funny. Like we're kind of just in this world where we know the Pirates aren't going to win a World Series or anything in the next 3, 4, 100 years, but you know they're not going to re-sign Skeens either. So it's like, why wouldn't they trade him? Because we'd all laugh at them. So they like they're going to wait like 3 years and send him to the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's like you're just like holding on to your pride. But
Yeah,
it's
they're in limbo. They're going to sell some tickets,
you
and
could
they're all
also like
fired if they do it.
legitimately rebuild in the next half decade if you trade him away.
Yeah, like so they're just. I mean, I don't envy their spot at all because they probably get like $12 and change to build a team. But
sell the team.
yeah,
Sell
I
the
mean,
team.
until they
There's
sell the
way too
team,
much of that going around the league, man. Holy.
like they're just they're not as built to run a small revenue team like the Brewers are. They kind of act weird, and that's the thing. Like when you aren't going to spend money, you have to maximize all value at all costs. And I don't even mean Skeens at this point. You just got to get anything for Fam. You got to get anything for yeah Isaiah
Heaney.
Kiner-Falefa. I don't. They probably shouldn't have even extended Brian Reynolds a couple years ago when they did. They probably should have flipped him. It's just like the little things like that where they're almost like trying to build like a fun team to watch, like they're trying to sell tickets. And I'm sure, I mean, maybe that is putting money in their pocket, and that's what it's all about for them. But I like they're just in such a weird limbo because they kind of refuse to do what they need to if they're not going to spend the money. But they're my losers of this deadline. They're my losers of just life, just the Pirates, everything. But who wants to jump in here with a winner or a loser?
I'll take a winner, and it's nothing crazy, nothing off the board, but I did really like what the Padres did.
Yeah.
I think AJ Preller, he's known to move prospects. They're prospects at the end of the day. Nothing's guaranteed. They do move the number two player in all of prospect in all of baseball, DeVries, and when you go out and get a Mason Miller, I honestly believe that this year they're gonna balls to the wall. They have the best bullpen. They add to it. I think Mason Miller, they're going to try to make a starter again. I honestly believe that. I think the package they gave up, the A's might have even said, hey, you're not the only one that's approached us. We believe he could be a starter too. We're not in the position to stretch him out right now, whatever, XYZ,
Hmm.
but you're going to have to pay a prospect package to that resembles a controllable starter. Like we are going to have a high asking price, and I think they met it. I like the Ryan O'Hearn deal, not just quoting because I called that to the Padres, but I, I I think that they addressed needs. They got players to fill out that team. They become a little scarier all of a sudden, and you start talking about October. The best bullpens usually do well, and now Robert Suarez, who's been a pretty good closer for them, doesn't have to close games anymore. You can rotate between him and Mason Miller every other night, keep one of them fresh. They're in a really good spot. Yes, their bolt or their prospect their system is depleted now, but they can go get more guys. They're really good in the international market. They draft pretty well for the most part with these winning seasons that they've been stacking. They're picking kind of at the back of the first round, so they got to get creative with money. Some high schoolers in there. I don't have any issues. I don't think it's going to be any issue to get that farm system stacked and stocked back up. But they're going for it, and you want to appreciate teams that go for it. There's so many that just say, they sit back on the on the sideline, don't push their chips in, i.e. the Cubs, but you like to see them going all in. Mason Miller is an exciting player to watch, and the Padres, for me, I think, are one of the winners of the deadline for sure.
And it's just
Yeah.
damn
Also,
good entertainment. I think that AJ Preller is just cinema for the sport because he's just going to do anything at any time. You wake up and they've traded for Mason Miller. They've traded one of the best prospects in baseball. Why? Because fuck it. Because prospects are fake. The sport's gonna not exist after the lockout in 2027. And he wants a ring now. So,
no,
I
I
respect
but
it.
like it's fair though because it's like if you're gonna go win a World Series in the next 2 to 3 years, that's what your goal is. Who gives a fuck about what the farm system looks like? Like with the Mets, it was like you don't want to trade the your top two pitching prospects and your shortstop you're trying to turn into a center fielder because you need a center fielder and you need starting pitching. But trade whoever the fuck else. Trade. They can trade DeVries. Like they have 17 shortstops or whatever it is on their roster. They still have Tatis, who's was a shortstop. Like they could still move stuff around. Like
Mhm.
it's really like the prospect hype when you're like if anyone's like I guess in my mind if anyone's upset that you're trading for like that deal for Mason Miller, it's like dude, do you want to win a World Series or do you want to have a good farm system? Like what do you really want?
Yeah, and like with
I
the
I didn't
Padres,
have the Padres as a loser, but I did have the Athletics as a winner
Mhm.
because to play devil's advocate when you're in the athletics position, what's the use of Mason Miller on a team that is fighting for fourth place?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what we were
Um,
saying about Paul Skeens too.
yeah, I mean, and the value you got for a reliever right there is astronomical. Um, and I think DeVry is a really good prospect. And I don't think the Padres are a loser. Like I don't I don't dislike the move from the Padres
Mhm.
side, but I it was one of my favorite moves from a selling team because
Yeah.
I think they got surplus value for Mason Miller.
They got a really good pitcher too. Like DeVry kind of headlined that
Yeah,
deal, but it kind of they got like the Padres' fourth and like eighth best prospect after that. I mean, they went to town. We'll see about Mason Miller as a starter. He came in as a starter into the league. He kind of caught some eyes in 2023. Then his arm kind of exploded. It happened, when you throw that hard, it's hard to pitch a lot of innings at a time. Maybe I think if they do try and turn him into the starter. I mean, it's going to be like a hybrid opener, I think. Like I can't imagine Mason Miller pitching like 7 innings ever.
I mean, he can do that on that team though. Still, like he
Yeah,
can
that's the
throw
thing.
four or
Like the
five innings.
bullpen of the Padres bullpen is so good. Like if you get innings out of Mason Miller to start a game, that's pretty good. And then you can go to like who would be your fifth starter without him. Then you
Yeah,
throw in Nestor Cortez, and they've avoided the top of their lineup. You can throw him in when the five hitter's up. Like I think they can get really creative. They've got 4 years of him. If they want to just keep him as a closer, that's fine. I think that's good value still. I think the A's did awesome. I think DeVry is great. They got a pitching prospect out of it. I mean, yeah, like we're saying with Paul Skeens, like Mason Miller really just sells seats at this point. He sells tickets. He's got aura, but if you're gonna win 65 games, why not go get maximum value for your closer? I like what they're building. I know they kind of, in a weird spot. They don't know, they're probably going to Vegas, but even the Vegas kind of stadium's on hold. Like, who knows where the hell they're going to be with their owner, their home location, all that. But just like the pure product on the field, especially the offense, looks awesome. At least 2 or 3 years from now, it's going to be great.
Another team I'll throw out there, and I don't even know if I want to call them. I think it's just somewhere similar to the Pirates and just obscurity, but we need to talk about the Minnesota Twins offloading 10 of their major league players, I think it was 10.
I think that's right.
Uh, Not Joe Ryan, who could have gotten them back the biggest package, the most prospects, the best prospects. They decide to hold on to Joe Ryan, um, get, I think, a really good deal for Duran, moving him to the Phillies. But just when was the last time we've seen a team? It's a fire sale to the absolute maximum. Like call the fire department, call the SWAT team. It was a full on get everybody the heck out of here. There's talk of them changing owners too. So when you're about to have a sale, you don't want all that extra payroll. So that anybody that was making anything, they sent them out of town. But you also hold on to Pablo Lopez, kind of weird. I mean,
well,
the
he's injured,
decisions.
right?
Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
but
yeah. I think maybe that adds to it too. I know he was rumored to possibly be moved at the deadline, but yes, if he's injured, then they can't. Just some interesting decisions there. I think the Joe Ryan one is the biggest. Obviously, they see him probably as a face of the franchise kind of guy. That guy maybe they want to invest in. Whether that's right or wrong. Maybe the potential new owner was like, you can trade anybody except for Joe Ryan. We really like him. I don't know. I guess we'll call them a winner because they knew they were going to sell and they pretty much sold everything. But what are your
Mets
guys'
kicked the
thoughts on
tire,
that one?
or I think they kicked the tires on Buxton. I believe they
Mm,
tried for Byron Buxton, which would have been interesting. I don't even know how far the talks went. I think I like that, Nick. One thing that was like for me, the Correa deal I thought was great
Mhm.
until you're sending them all this money,
yeah.
and then Griffin Jacks asking out is just a really tough look for a franchise. And another hard point to bring up is the Timberwolves really struggle with this right now. Who wants to play in Minnesota? Minnesota sucks. And I
Especially
can say that
outside. I mean,
because
at
I've
least
been there.
you're in an arena in, the NBA. Who wants to play in
Yeah.
Minnesota in April?
Everyone's just doing the fent lean in Minneapolis. Nick can vouch for that one.
We saw that. We saw a lot of that. I just it's a tough sell. Buxton says he wants to be there forever, so I think that's part of the reason that those talks died down. He says I want to be a Twin. If a big market team though is asking for you and they want to pay you and potentially re-up on your contract once it expires, you can't really tell me you want to stay in Minnesota forever. Uh, the Twins are an odd team. The AL Central is kind of playing weird this year. The Tigers are are good. They made some moves, but the rest of the division is kind of
I think
Tigers are my
Buxton.
losers.
yeah.
I think
I mean
Buxton
that's
has
fair.
he has the no trade clause. So
Yeah,
like he could have rejected any deal. Maybe he did. I get it as like a, you got to sell tickets kind of thing. Byron Buxton will sell some tickets. He can be there, Andrew McCutcheon, for the Pirates. It's a guy like, hey, he's still here. Let's go see him. But Joe Ryan, like I think he has 2 years left. Maybe he didn't like. He's probably I think he's on the same timeline as Gore.
yeah.
I think you got to move him. I mean, if you're gonna fire sale like that. If you don't plan to contend next year, why are you holding on to a controllable pitcher who maybe if you're in contention in 2 years, you get one year of the guy and you gotta go for bigger broke then. So maybe it might have been a case where they tried to move him, but their price was so high and before they could bring it down, deadlines expired. But
It
I
sounded
think
like it was some of that because the Red Sox pushed hard. I know Fox
mm,
really thought they had it down. Um, but it sounded like the Red Sox called, but it was just too late to get a deal done.
mm,
But yeah, I don't disagree. And Joe Ryan, I mean, it's not like this is a dude who's been a stud. Like this is more of a guy creeping from good into the great territory. So you don't know that he's ever going to. And then pitching injuries too.
mm.
You got to capitalize when you can.
I think he'll be gone in the winter. I think that seems like a guy that will be gone in the winter, and the value won't be that much worse. I think it gets a little overrated sometimes. It sounds like, that extra playoff run doesn't hurt the value a whole lot, but still, if you're
That
gonna
Crochet
unbundle,
deal,
what's it?
the Crochet deal,
Yeah, like Crochet still got two top, almost 50 prospects. I
yeah,
mean, maybe you get one more top 150 guy, borderline top 100 guy if you trade him the deadline before that. Like Joe Ryan will get a haul back. You might as well have done it now, though. I mean, if you're gonna trade
yeah.
one and everything, hold on to Buxton, sure. Hold on to like Royce Lewis, sure. They're just kind of in a weird spot. They're kind of in the middle. They were kind of in the middle before. So like, where do they go from here? It's kind of hard to say. Like you said, who really wants to go sign in Minnesota? It's really a miracle Carlos Correa got there. I still can't believe that happened
Well,
twice.
yeah,
Two
it's a
failed
medical
physicals.
miracle.
Yeah, two
Yeah, the
failed
physical. Yeah, he
physicals.
didn't even want to be there, but you would think anyone else would call that. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think they had just a hard. I think they weren't making a lot of money. I mean, I think if they're trading if you make a move like that, you are waving the white flag that like you were going under. And they
Yeah,
did, I think, they didn't file for bankruptcy, I think, but they did something early in the year where they took out a loan. Like they were like kind of you could tell like the financials were starting to dip and they just made it clear by trading Correa for nothing. They got like a 25-year-old first baseman, I think.
And had to
Really
send a ton of money.
just a financial dump because they could not afford him, and they weren't even running that high a payroll anyway. So it's just kind of sad to see. We'll get into
bad for the league.
a salary cap and floor talk another day,
Yeah.
but I think that's if a
Don't
team
invite Bryce Harper.
do not fight Price ever. I we'll get into that another day, but if a team can't even afford to hold their star players when they're running like the 15 fives payroll, that's a little sketch for the league. But talk for another day. Do we got any more winners or losers?
I just hit it quick. The Tigers, you're in a spot where the AL is super weak and you had clearly identifiable needs. And I look at some of the guys that went, some of the guys that the Yankees got, Bednar, Duvall. I look at that Tiger system. You easily could have gotten those guys. You didn't. I don't like Finnegan. I don't think anyone but the Tigers in the league like Finnegan.
Hmm.
So I just felt like it was a missed opportunity
No.
for the Tigers to step up, especially after they've stumbled in the second half. I felt like it was a missed opportunity. I even think they could have went and got Suarez. Um, I don't. I think the Orioles are a great example of the window of contention is a lot shorter than people think it is sometimes, and so I think it was a missed opportunity from the Tigers. But they could get hot in the postseason. Prove me wrong. But for me, they were just a loser
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
just
I think
added relievers and
the Orioles point's
and
really
not great
good.
relievers.
yeah.
You know, the Orioles point's really good that I think prospect depth is so overrated in terms of holding it.
Hmm.
Like there's no reason a guy like Heston Kjerstad should still have been on the roster, a year and a half ago. I mean, they were kind of, already filling up with young talent. But this is especially how I feel about like a Kobe Mayo. Like when they had Mountcastle over at first, they had Gunnar at short, they had Holiday, they had Westberg. Like there was no reason he shouldn't have been traded for pitching a year ago. So they held on to him, and sure they got him playing time now, but they have no pitching and they suck.
Yeah.
And, they're maybe a year away from having a trade like an Adley. Probably not Gunner, but I mean, they haven't seemed to
Adley,
be
yeah.
talking to Gunner about an extension. That might be 2 years away. Like they're just kind of in a weird spot. And when you're a team, that's why like when the Padres go nuts and trade everyone, you have to respect it because the opportunities like this don't come around for the Padres and the Orioles of the league that much. When you have a Tatis or a Gunner on the roster, you need to maximize that, especially if you're the Orioles and you don't seem to be that excited to lock up Gunner, or maybe you can. You have to, go crazy, go get a pitcher, keep a Corbin Burns around,
Yeah.
like get Blake Snell when he was a free agent, all that. It's, I don't get it. And that's what the Tigers, they're going to hold everyone and everything. They've got two catchers in their top five prospects. What do you need them both for? They can't both. They're both at Double A right now too. They can't both play.
They're best friends, Paul. They want to play together.
They must be. There's no reason they should both be there right now. One of those guys should be sipping on a margarita. I don't know why he's sipping on a margarita. He should be in Minnesota freezing his ass off. That's what he should be doing. And
And they should have Joe Ryan in
Joe
Detroit.
Ryan should be touring the nearest Ford automobile industry. I don't know. But
Don't show this clip to Seager.
I was gonna say, he's got to go meet Seager right now.
I'm just gonna put his face in the middle of the screen when I edit. No, but it was a weird deadline. Kyle Finnegan's okay. It seems like they've mixed with his pitch usage. That's the thing. Is he's throwing more splitters now. They're kind of making him more efficient. He's still probably not that good. Like him closing games for them has me like I'm like having preemptive flashbacks of like an ALCS game five. Him just giving up like a nuke to Aaron
Well,
Judge.
and that's the thing is I feel like the Tigers' expectations should be ALCS, and the trade deadline did not match that.
I think it should be
And
World Series. I mean, that's a World Series team. If they add, they should certainly
yeah,
act like it. But they're acting kind of like a first, second round exit. Like a hey, let's get
I vow
cute.
to hold them accountable.
Oh, you will, and I'm sure baseball group chat will pay the price. We can't wait. But yeah, just any buyer that kind of sat on their ass is a loser to me. Red Sox. Why are you giving up a top five prospect for Dustin May? What's going on? Why is Steven Matz your headliner for your deadline? What is going
Stop,
That
on?
was that was
Phil just sat up when I said that name.
stop giving
Phil
the
jumped up.
Dodgers good prospects. Why
I
is
love
every team in the league give the Dodgers good prospects for their trash? It's horrible.
because the Dodgers have some hypnosis bullshit and they just get whatever the fuck they want at the deadline. And
James
Disney
they
Tibbs was a
Magic.
first rounder. He was in the
I
Rafael
like
Devers
James
trade.
Tibbs.
I love James Tibbs, and they just gave him away for nothing. That he was a first round pick from this past year
I
that they
still
got in the
can't. Dustin
Devers.
May is not good. Like I
He
No,
still,
he
is beautiful
sucks.
to me.
He Dustin May sucks.
I'm
You
sure
like Dustin May?
the Ginger's got to stick
Dude,
together.
he's
But Dustin,
ginger, and my dad went to high school with his mom. So can we be
uh,
a little bit nicer to the dude?
No,
Yeah,
dude. He
no.
can't stay on the field.
it's just sad.
He had a
He's not
great
worth
90
fishing.
card in MLB The Show 25. What
I'm
more do
really
you
Yeah,
want
happy
from the
for him.
guy?
what the
But
beauty of that card is though is that it can stay on the field every fifth day.
Yeah, it
Go
You
doesn't
out.
run
know
out of
that salad
stamina.
hurt him, and you still said that, Phil. He did almost die to a salad.
Esophagus surgery. That's crazy.
and that's their
But
deadline. They say, yeah, we're gonna
Those
go
are
win a
quitter.
World
These are
Series.
quitter.
Let's get
These are-
Salad Boy over here.
Yeah, 92
so,
pitches
boy,
through 3 innings.
jeez,
That's efficiency.
we're
Oh,
not. But with
James Harden game.
moving on from the kind of winners and losers of the deadline, let's get into a few more story, like kind of headlines before we get out of here. Starting tonight, I guess we'll start with the last one. At least I would like to. Drew Gilbert, former Tennessee Vol, going to make his Giants and MLB debut tonight. Very exciting. The Mets just moved him to the Giants organization for Tyler Rogers. Will be, we think, starting, or is it confirmed start in the
He's
starting lineup
starting
today?
batting ninth. I think playing right field. He's left or right. We'll see if we get this video. We'll see if we get this episode off in time. The game might be
If
over.
not, we got our answers already confirmed. This was recorded before he played, I
Yeah,
think.
so we're gonna do a little guessing game. We're gonna guess his slash line. Batting nine facing Jake Irvin, who stinks, if you didn't know.
What do
Uh
you got, Paul? They're playing you.
uh I feel like every prospect, like 40% of prospects' first hits are like a weak dribbler in the infield. I feel like it's always.
Or the
Is
So
that an
goalie.
official stat?
yeah, I'm guessing the type of hit. We're going 1 for 3. He's gonna draw a walk and he's gonna beat out a grounder to shortstop because CJ Abrams will probably muff it or something and they'll rule it a hit. So we're going 1 for 3. He's gonna hit a nice little cheap single. They're gonna throw that ball in. We're all gonna cheer. He's gonna get a walk. It'll be cute. It'll be nice.
I think he goes. I can agree with a one for a three. I think he can swipe a bag. He gets a little stolen base on the scorecard there.
Okay.
One for
Maybe,
four. He gets a double and two RBIs.
Wow.
really.
Hmm.
I'll be Mr. Pessimistic. I'm going to say 0 for 2 with a walk, and he gets subbed out late in game for maybe a platoon. They put in a lefty and they get him out of there. But 0
I
for
don't
2
like
with
your
a walk.
attitude. I don't.
I
I
like
don't
the
really
walk.
appreciate that. I was hoping you'd say like ball in the cove, but
Ball in the
probably
We'll
cove.
right.
see. I
But
mean, that's Jake Irvin we're talking about.
I mean, if he hits a
Superstar.
ball in the cove in his debut, I might be a little bit upset. I honestly, the only reason I'm upset about him making the debut is because I really wanted to see every time I hear his name and I watch him and I watched him play in our minor league system, I just like reminisced on the walk off grand slam and just the bat flip and the aura that had, and I just was like, wow, if only there was some blue in that
uh,
jersey.
he wasn't traded for anyone cool. It was just Tyler Rogers. That's pretty going
Oh,
from
you
trading for
well, if you ask Jack, he'd be like, "That's the coolest guy I've ever seen. I love that."
Submariner.
Yeah, he
Submariner.
loves the little funky guys,
It's
dude.
just pretty funny, like to get traded for
Jack Bennett does
Justin
love guys.
Verlander, basically one for one for Justin Verlander. Like that's badass. Like that's so cool. And like
Yeah,
Tyler Rogers in a 3 for 1. Yeah. I guess
yo,
it's
that's
With
what
Blade
happened.
Tidwell, too. With Tidwell.
yeah. The Giants respect the Vols. They know winners when they see them. Don't ask the Rockies how it's worked out for them stacking on Vols, but
Oh, dude, it's doing good for them. Seth Halverson's getting some saves.
they
Jordan
are the
Beck's
only good parts of that team. So they need
yeah.
to maximize that. But no, we got our nice little guesses in. We were going to talk a little Roman Anthony extension. That was came up in our talking point. It's 8 years, 130 million. Club option for that ninth year. It's a $30 million. Dylan, I know you had some big thoughts on it. You want to start for us?
Yeah, so the part I don't like about it is I think we had talked about it, it's gonna be weird if they don't pick up that option. He would have to be really bad. So it really turns into a 9 year deal, and they're buying out 3 years of his free agency. What I don't understand is you wanna get away from arbitration. Paul had brought up a good point in our messages about, arbitration can get ugly. I'd said the Yankees went to arbitration with Derek Jeter and things got ugly. And I mean, it's Derek Jeter. Um, so I get wanting to avoid that, but why are you letting a team buy out 3 years of free agency after seeing what Juan Soto did in free agency and seeing what Vlad did? I mean, you are leaving hundreds of millions of dollars on the table. And I think there was middle ground between what he did and what Soto did and what Vlad did. And I know the MLBPA had to have hated it.
Yeah. And I think it's a tough one because, when you first brought that up, and then, I brought up the point of think about the guys that do get that young extension and then are pretty bad, like a Scott Kingery for the Phillies, no good at all, but got $70 million that he wouldn't have. Eloy Jimenez started out hot, then not. He got paid when he probably shouldn't have been. Like, there's guys like that. And then, so, that was where I was kind of like, good for Roman securing that money. I mean, that's still $160 million. I mean, let's not, scoff at that. But, yeah, like he is a kind of a tier above where those other guys were. We're to the point like I can't really envision a world where Roman Anthony is a bad baseball player, especially with what we've already seen. He's got like an 850 OPS, and he's been here a month. I mean, he's going to get top three in rookie of the year, and he's play half a season. Like I think if there's guys that are gonna bet on themselves, Roman should be one of them. Like there's really not a world where I can't see him making, at least 100 million, 200 million when he hits free agency. And that's a long time for some guys to wait. And, he seems to love it in Boston. He wants to be able to be there for a long time with guys like Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer. So good for him on that part. I'm kind of in the middle ground. And, it's hard. You can't get this kind of deal done without buying out some of your free agency years. Like that's the whole point of it for the team is that they save a little money in years 7, 8, 9. I like it for the Red Sox a lot, of course. And then I like it a little for Anthony. I think if he probably did leave some money on the table, but he'll still hit free agency at about 30 years old, just a little past his prime, but that'll still get him, 7, 8 years if he's as good as he is now.
Chance to be a cold hero in Boston too, which
Mhm.
is valuable.
Yeah, like he's not taking that deal if he's playing in what's done good Minnesota.
Pittsburgh,
Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah.
Minnesota, Minneapolis.
But yeah, what do you have to say on it, Phil? What do you got for us?
Yeah, I don't. It's kind of hard to disagree. I mean, like, if he really is the player that like you guys are expecting to be, and like if that's the reason the deal is bad is because he could have made more a couple years earlier, then it's like he'll still make a fantastic contract in the back half of his 15-year career or whatever it is, 20-year career if he's actually that good for that long. He'll make a good second free like when he hits free agency, he'll still make a bag and it'll be like you play you then it's one of those things where like you're paying him for the first 3 or 3, 4, 5 years of that, even though it's another 7, 8 plus year deal. So it's like I don't know. Obviously, there's money left on the table, but it's not. It. I don't think it's bad for him. I think it's wrong to say it's bad for him because he's going to make the money either way. It's just like we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars here. So,
Chump change
like,
for a dude like me.
yeah, okay.
Maybe one day, but
He says with his
Yeah, in my jail cell.
brick interior walls.
I don't have like super strong opinions on it. I think an interesting, not a direct comp because PCA is probably more, or obviously more of a center fielder, whereas Anthony's in the corners. But PCA reportedly was offered negotiation to have an extension and kind of said, "Oh, I think I'm worth a lot more," and their prices were a lot further away. He said, "I'm going to bet on myself," and now he's having an insane season. Probably earned himself a lot more money by not signing that extension, and potentially this offseason or next year could get
I would this
a
offseason
a
if
big
I'm
total.
him.
I mean, if I'm him, I'm definitely cashing it. Like even if I made an extra 5 million AAV, like if they were offering me 18 and now they're saying, all right, we'll come back with 22 or 23. That's a huge difference. I think you jump all over that, especially with his swing and miss. Is he doesn't walk when he's on base. He's good base stealer and a good base runner, but he doesn't walk.
I was gonna
So
say it's such a volatile like hitting profile
yeah,
that I would probably try and cash in. The defense will get him paid at a certain level. So if he wants to bet on that, sure. But like his bat will probably be so up and down in his career. It's really up now. I think he should try and, get that
yeah.
bag in this offseason. I mean, good for him. When I think it was 7 years, 75 mil or something, the original offer. And
Yeah, that was the number that was thrown out there, which
honestly,
was
I thought that was before he got really hot this year.
yeah.
I thought he should have taken that because I wasn't a hater, but I was kind of a non-believer in PCA. I wasn't sure where the bat would be. So like it was something. It was probably a little more than that, but I was kind of like, you might have should have taken that. I mean, that's
I
one
like
year
declining
free
that.
agent.
I think you can get that any year with his defense.
That's
That's like
fair.
a $10 million to play starting center field and
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
steal 30 bases.
I mean, it probably was more than what I'm. It was maybe 7,105 or something, but it was like
Yeah, it
pretty
was
good.
lower.
Yeah, and I thought maybe he should have gotten that. Hey, he's proved me wrong. He's gonna make so much money, but I think I would try and cash in, maybe buy out 2, 3 years of your free agency.
Yeah. Moving from one Cubs outfielder to kind of our final talking point here with another. I will let all of y'all go first to not influence slash bias too much, but Kyle Tucker is about to be a free agent at the end of the year, has pointed towards no signs of extending in the season, which why would you? Going to get paid. Someone's going to give him a lot of money. The Cubs haven't given out a contract that big ever. Dansby Swanson, I believe, is the most total money we've ever given out. Jason Hayward was before. Those have not turned out to be great so far. So I'm a little nervous, a little hesitant. I know we talked about Owen Casey as an insurance plan, but before I give my opinions, take it around the room.
I mean, I can go first. I kind of view this as like an echo of what it was with Bellinger. Obviously, Kyle Tucker's a better player, but I was a very firm believer that they should have kept the Cubs should have kept Bellinger because like that was kind of like the thump in the lineup that they seemed to be missing. And it was like that like if especially after that's it was 2 years, right? You had the first year and then this and then he had 2 years in Chicago. So after that
Cody
second year,
Bellinger, yeah.
yeah, I was like, yeah, really need to sign this guy and really just like be like the rock in your lineup. So I'm gonna stick with that philosophy and say that they gotta like re-signing Kyle Tucker is huge. Obviously, like I said, I think Kyle Tucker's a better player overall. So it's really it would be really huge to sign that. And just another kind of like another byproduct of that is like you have when you have pieces like that, then other players know that you're willing to do a little bit extra to kind of like make the big move and make the jump. So it's gonna attract other bigger names, whether maybe it's not you don't have four all-stars, but you're gonna have a solid deep lineup. Maybe some pitchers want to come help support that, whatever, whatever. But yeah, I like the idea of re-signing Kyle Tucker for sure.
Yeah, I think the question isn't if you try and re-sign him. Like, of course you try and re-sign him. It's just kind of if you have to balk at a number, what is it? You know, at what point can you not keep bidding on him? Because I think he's getting at least 500 million, maybe. I mean, with the way contracts have ended up, I mean, if it's at least, I think it's at least 450, probably not over 600 million. I don't think he's that guy, but somewhere in that like 450 to 550 range sounds right. Like, do they get scared to go that high? They shouldn't, I think. But like, if the Mets start knocking on the door, pushing it to 550, if the Dodgers push it that high, like at what point do they have to say we just
No,
have to
not
play Owen Kate? He is smiling like he is like the Green Goblin down here. That's just like, but like, at what point do you just say, Owen Casey is on a rookie contract? With 60 million a year, we could go get Gore and extend him. Go get Framber Valdez in free agency. Well, I'll kick that to Nick after Dylan talks, but I think you
I think about
absolutely
the
have to go
Cubs.
push for him, but you have to have a number, like especially when you have a plan in case he doesn't sign. Like when you have a backup plan, you can't just give him everything, I think.
The Cubs are a historic franchise. They're a big market team, and they sit and they put on this charade that they're Milwaukee when they're way closer to New York than they are to Milwaukee. They need to pony up. This is your guy. You need to go get him. I know they've been wrong with Hayward. Like, and even look at the Hayward deal. Yeah, you were wrong, but did you not win the World Series with Hayward? Maybe he was not the driver, but sometimes the confidence boost of going out and getting your guy is worth as much as you're going to pay him. And it pisses me off to see the Cubs sit here and say, well, check their pockets and well, there's no money, guys. What do you mean? Wrigley Field is always packed when you put a decent product out there. The brand is super strong. You'll sell 1 billion Kyle Tucker jerseys over the 10 years. go get the guy. I think there's no excuse to not get him, but I don't think they get him because I do think they like to play the small market team, even though they are a Chirac team.
Yeah, I guess it's my turn. It's just the lineup the last couple years, ever since trading away all those big name guys, they were like they don't have a star. They don't have a star. Ian Happ's a complimentary player. Say Suzuki's a complimentary player. Dansby Swanson, you paid him like a star, but he's not a star. Go get a big bat. Go get a big bat. All right, well they did. They got Kyle Tucker, and he's been hitting second or third every single game. He's been hot. He's very cold right now, ice cold. Looks frustrated. They said that they've never seen him like this. He's yelling. He's cussing. He's uh, just getting pissed off at the place, striking out more than he has in the last week and a half than he ever has. It's baseball though, and I think Cubs fans I've seen on Twitter now are getting discouraged. They were saying extend Kyle Tucker. Now they're saying don't extend him. We want Owen Casey, and I think it goes in. You're playing with these dumb Cubs fans' emotions right now. You don't trade any of your prospects, so now you're saying, all right, well we want to play Casey. Kevin Alcantara too. He made his MLB debut last year. Hasn't been up since. Has been in Iowa. He can play corner outfield. He's supposed to be a big superstar potential prospect too. Are we just gonna we're just gonna fold on these guys and just play all the young guys so we don't have to pay them? I don't like that plan. I agree with Dylan. They have to. They should. It makes sense, but I don't think they do it. I think they are very comfortable with saying, yeah, we're gonna spread the money out somewhere else. We're gonna go get another starting pitcher. We're gonna get a back end guy because we don't have one, and they're gonna spread the money around, and it it just hurts me. Owen Casey will be leading or starting game one in right field, batting sixth, and I think that's becoming a
And then he's
reality.
gonna homer, and you'll be like, "I love
I,
this guy. Go,
Yeah,
Cubs,
I mean he's
go!"
good. He's
no,
good.
I kind
He's
of,
never
I
he's never
kind of
played in
believe.
MLB.
Yeah, I kind of believe they they give Kyle Tucker what he wants because with Bellinger, I thought it was going to be with Bellinger. I thought first of all, I thought that could have been a cheaper deal because he's only been back in his form for a year and a half, 2 years after doing like literally getting cut. So I thought it was going to be done with them, but then they were willing to let him walk, and they were willing to let him walk because they knew they wanted to go get someone like Kyle Tucker. So in my mind, you gave up the you let one walk, gave up the prospects for another to upgrade. Now you got to go. He plays for your team. He's leading your team to potential postseason runs or attempting to, and you got you now you've put your you basically shown your hand. So if you don't go get him, you're basically throwing away like the last 4 or 5 years or whatever. I mean, obviously, yeah, you've got Casey, Alcantara, whatever. But like, if you want to, like Dylan said, if you want to be like the big market Cubs and like show your fan base that you're willing to do some business, this
Fucking
has
act
got to
like
be
it.
your guy.
Act like it.
Yeah, this has got to be your guy.
They have him in their hands. They can talk to him any day that they want to right now. But
And Scott
we'll
Boras is
see.
gonna tell him to get
It's
away and do it.
Scott Boras.
I
Got
Yeah.
think they
yours.
do it. I think they do it. I have
Well,
faith.
we will find out if they do it this offseason after
It'll be a fun episode if they don't.
hopefully a long postseason run by the Chicago Cubs. The NL is a buzzsaw. The AL is kind of open. We will get into more, I think, off-season or postseason predictions in a future episode. But I think that will wrap us up for here at episode 9. Um, Great episode talking about the trade deadline. Really enjoyed that. But keep on the lookout for another episode of the Pipeline Talk. Kids are going back to school. We're getting back into the swing of it, pushing towards a fall here and playoff baseball. There's nothing like it. Hopefully, 3 out of our 4 teams are in the playoffs. RIP Paul and the
We're
Nationals
gonna get hot.
might get hot. They might get hot. They will probably not. Thank you all for listening to the Pipeline Talk podcast. Join us next time right here. Thanks you all for listening.